Now, let me tell you this. 1998, he gave you a target part when that man would come and what will become of that man. Well, the year of 1998, after they had firebombed my house in Pine Bluff, the year between the doorposts in 1997, January 1997. Poor building the prophecy spoken of by Isaiah the prophet in Isaiah 61-7, where the doorposts moved at the voice of him they cried. After the poor building been up there, I didn't have no house anymore in Pine Bluff. So that year of 1997, I was forced, my wife and I separated. My wife went to Fayetteville first with one of the daughters, and I went to Danville, Illinois, momentarily of 1997 because I had to have surgery on my back later on. So after having surgery later in 1997, I went went to back to Fayetteville, and me and my wife we joined there, and I got an apartment late of 1997. And after having a surgery in 1997, I came out late that year and I had gone to court. But as I left Lambert Field after making settlement, I was kind of angry because of I didn't like the settlement that I got, but I felt pressured into that, and I felt that it was the best to do, because I was just tired, worn down. Yet, as I left the flight on at Lambert Field, going riding on an American Eagle, one of the engines was out, and I didn't know this. And I was sitting up there on the right side of the aircraft that night, leaving in a bad storm. I began to sit up and be disappointed. I was angry. And the voice of the Lord came to me as I sat there on that airplane, and he said, "Why are you dismayed?" He said, "Tomorrow is not promised to you anyway. Regardless, even if I was on the airplane or not on the airplane, that tomorrow was not promised to me." And he said, "I told you that I will remember you." And as I went to smile, and I decided I'd look out the window and look at the scenery, the storm and everything. I'm on my way back. And I happened to notice and start reading the writing on the propeller of this American Eagle. It only have two engines in there. And it said, God spoke to me and said, if you can read the writing on that engine is not running. If you can read the writing on that propeller, the engine is not running. And I looked, and I began to smell oil because I had been a mechanic all of my life, and I knew when you smell oil that the other engine is under stress. So this went out, and the other is under stress, and I knew I had been a locomotive mechanic for 22 years at the railroad. And I knew when engines run hot, I knew the smell of oil is that other engine is in trouble. And so I started to look for the airplane, somebody to tell the extra pilot when he's going to crank this other engine up because the airplane was running under stress, because I knew this. And when the steward came out, she said, "We're going to try. We got an engine out. One engine is out. And we're going to try. We can't make it to Fayetteville, Arkansas." She said, "We're going to turn around and try to make it back to Lambert Field. But God had already told me that I'm going to be with you." So once we came back and with one engine out, and you can smell oil, it hit, when it landed by one engine, it hit the runway real hard, and there was fire trucks all along the runway. I really didn't realize how serious a problem that we was in, but I did know that other American Eagles had went down before this flight, 1997, November, and had killed everybody on board. And so out of this, the year 1998 came, and God had told me to go make amends with my mother. I was yet living in Fayetteville, Arkansas. My wife had left and gone back to Pine Bluff and left me in an apartment after I had my surgery, shortly after I had my surgery. And I had bought me a Dodge truck. new Dodge truck after making the settlement. Well, God gave me a vision while I was there in uh, up to the year 2008 about a storm which I saw building up on the ground, a dark cloud. It wasn't a storm. It didn't come out of the cloud, air out of the heaven. It was on the ground when I saw it. There was a large smoke-looking cloud, black cloud, up on the earth like a wheel, giant wheel, a wheel of a giant steamroller laying up on the ground. It had a sulfur-looking cloud moving over here. And as I stood and watched this here cloud, it began to slumber towards me, and I began to run towards the east. This is where I got to draw this here image here. And I went to run towards the east, and something caused a concrete wall to come up before me, and I ran between the opening that it was had prepared for me, and I hid behind this concrete block wall. But as this dark black-looking cloud came to me, which came out of the west, it's a white cloud-looking hands came out of this cloud, dark cloud, and tore the wall down, exposing me to the wrath of the black storm again. So, as I did the same thing, I began to run again. As it exposed me to the dark cloud again, the hands went back into the black cloud and repeated the process as it did here at first. It had been getting slum over to me again. I would run, another second wall would come and about the earth and before me, and I would run through this opening and hide behind this here to keep hoping that I could see the wall deflect the storm and it go and leave me alone. But as I hide behind the wall, once again, just like it did the first thing, it would repeat itself, and the white cloud-looking hands would emerge out of the black cloud-looking hands, cloud which had the sun above it, and it would tear down the wall, exposing me back to the wrath of this black cloud. Well, in doing so, I decided, I said, well, something might be trying to help me, some power might be trying to help me to escape this. If I could run and go through enough walls, he put enough walls in front of me, and I could take and go behind them, and by the hands tearing down so many walls, it would get tired of tearing down so many walls, and it might take flight and leave me alone because I thought it was a cloud, but it had stuff on it, like it was a billow up on the cloud, like a smoke came out of the earth. Well, after it had tore down the second wall, and I began to repeat the process to run again towards the east, looking for a third wall, I met a wall of wolves coming out of east, had blood all over their mouth, devoured everything in their path. Now I was trapped between the storm and the wolves. And I decided, I said within, just maybe, as I said, should I run and keep running towards the east and get devoured by the wolf, or shall I take and retreat back towards the storm and go into the storm and get destroyed by the contents of the storm? Because I had nowhere to go, because each one went north as far as the eyes could see, and south as far as the eyes could see, and laid on the ground where there was no escape. So I turned right here, and I ran back into the storm where I first came from. And when I ran back in the storm, as I got to begin to tumble into the storm, I caught wings, grew wings while in the storm. I took and flew out of the storm and above the wolves. And I escaped momentarily. Well, as I read, God said, what burden? The burden of God, when he sends us to do something, there is no burden. If he said he's going to protect us, he's going to do just that. But if we fear of our mission and we become fear and don't believe in God, halfway believe in God, then God is going to withdraw his strength from us. But as long as we put our whole hope and all our faith in him, he will be our protector, and he'll guide and lead us out here. Now, I'll tell you the significance of this because it has its way. And I'll tell you what this